You will make it through. The fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah by your side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. You will make it through. The fitrah is awake in you. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through. With Quran and Sunnah on his side, here's a place where it will thrive. You will make it through.
Tonight, we're going to continue our discussion on empowering the next generation. As women, it's not our job to vlog our personal life. This is how you curse yourself. Instead, our job is to close the door to our house and worry about empowering the next generation, which are our children. And we're going to be covering pages 278 through 284 of the book, which is going to complete this chapter. Everybody can see it. And again, it's the parents. The parents are the custodians of the forthcoming generation. It's our job to protect and cocoon the children. It's our job to shield them from the stark realities that pervade society. It's our job to work to craft a realm devoid of corruption, even in the face of glaring signs of malevolence, such as immodest dress. We are surrounded with the Nicki Minaj's of the world, the Beyoncé's of the world, the Britneys, the Taylor Swifts. Kids want to walk around and look like that. It's our job to protect our kids from that. The coarseness that echoes through the streets, the drugs, the alcohol, and all of that. However, this well-intentioned approach, what happens is the parents, we try to keep the kids ignorant, to keep them ignorant of this stuff. Instead of us sitting down talking to them about what's going on, we try to, keep them ignorant of it. But we can't hide the truth from them. And this, oops, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I forgot I got my PowerPoint going the wrong way. Hold on, let me put this back. And that's the mistake that we make as parents. Instead of us guiding the children, we try to shield them. Instead of us sitting down talking to the kids and letting them know what's going on and telling them how to, prevent ourselves from falling victim to this stuff, we try to shield them. And this creates a gap in understanding. This leaves the kids susceptible to external influences. You see that a lot on TV when you look at the Amish. Look at what's happened to the Amish kids. The Amish kids, they live in a different, their own environment that's secluded away from technology and all of that. Their family, their community shields them from technology and all of that. But then when they venture outside of their community, they end up falling victim. Okay? You look at our way. You look at a teenager named Zane. His parents shield him from the news about society's issues, such as violence and morality. They believe that they're protecting his innocence. However, this well-intended isolation will keep Zane ill-equipped to understand the complexities of the world around him, like the Amish. So when he inevitably encounters situations, he won't know how to handle it. He'll become an easy target to those who wish to exploit his lack of insight, like we've seen happen to so many Amish kids. They take them out of their environment, take them to a place like New York City, and look what happens. And they end up on drugs. They end up on the pole. They end up messed up. Okay? So, we don't want to shield them completely, but instead we need to talk to our kids about what's going on. Also, we have to realize that when parents choose to overlook things, they inadvertently create a void in their kids' understanding. And within this vacuum, harmful ideologies and behaviors will take an opportunity to introduce their perspectives. And your kids will end up falling victim. So you need to fill the gap, by talking to them about what's going on in the world, letting them know, this is what's happened. Look at how the non-Muslims live. Look at how they dress. And this is wrong. You tell them, Islam teaches us to be modest. A woman doesn't have to get naked to feel secure, to feel that she's beautiful. You have to talk about drugs, substance abuse. Let your kids know what's going on. Let them know about the different type of drugs out there. Let them know about the gummies that's laced with drugs. Talk about cyberbullying and stuff like that, so the kids don't fall victim to it. They don't become a target of it. By avoiding addressing these issues, you make your kids more susceptible to this stuff. You do more harm than good. We have to think about the parable that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us. The parable of the ship. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the parable of those who respect the limits of Allah and those who violate them is like that of people who board a ship after casting lots. Some of them take the upper deck and others take the lower deck. When those in the lower deck want water, they have to pass by the upper deck. And they say, if we tear a hole in the bottom of the ship, we will not harm those above us. And if those in the upper deck let them do what they want, they will all be destroyed. But if they stop them, they will all be saved. Now, this hadith serves as a metaphor for understanding the dynamics of society's well-being and the role of the people within it. In the context of the point about wickedness, those who fill the void left by the parents, their ability, their choice of neglecting to address the evil, this hadith takes on an added significance. The passengers divided between the upper and lower decks symbolize different segments of society with different levels of moral consciousness and responsibility. Those in the lower deck, in pursuit of their immediate needs, they come up with actions that could potentially harm the ship as a whole. Their disregard of the well-being of those in the upper deck reflects a lack of awareness of the broader consequences of their actions. And this scenario resonates with the idea that when parents fail to acknowledge, the evil in society with their kids, they inadvertently create a void in the children's understanding, just as those in the lower deck of the ship are unaware of the potential harm that they may cause to everyone on the ship. So we have to sit down with our kids, guys. We can't keep our kids in a vacuum. We have to talk with our kids, let them know what's going on in the world around them. Don't let our kids be naive. Share with them what's going on in the world, and tell them the causes, the effects, the consequences, and let them know how and why our way is the best way. Let them know how and why Islam is the true key to success. How we dress is the best way to be. How the fact that we are drug free, alcohol free is the best way to be. Don't try to shield them from the reality. And then we have the story from the Quran and the Hadith of the magician and the monk. How the king of a land had a magician, but the magician was getting old and the king wanted to replace him. So he sought out a boy to learn from the magician. Okay. But on the way to learn from the magician, the boy happened to come by a monk who was standing outside the kingdom, speaking about his religious belief. And the boy would listen to the monk, and he would end up being late to his lessons with the magician. And he ended up getting in trouble for that. And so one day when he was on his way for his lessons, an animal was in a way preventing him from getting to his lessons at the palace. And so the boy had to use critical thinking. He picked up a rock and he said, "Oh Allah, if the monk's way is more pleasing than the magician's, when I throw this rock, let me end this creature so everybody can get through the road. But if the magician's way is best, then let the rock not end this creature's way." So he threw the rock, and the rock ended up, knocking the creature down, and everybody was able to get through. So this story here just shows that, even if you try to shield your children, when you're living in a world where the clash of ideologies is a constant reality, your children are still gonna grow up and end up having to use their own critical thinking. They're gonna end up having to make their own choices eventually. And that's where the principles of allegiance and disassociation is gonna come into play. And if you raised your kids correctly upon el-wala wal-bara, that would serve as a compass for them. And if you did your job as a parent, mentoring them correctly, that critical compass would kick in and they would make the right decision, just as that boy did. So in this symbiotic dance between Allah's wisdom and earth's balance, your kids would end up making the right choice. Because remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us we all come into this world upon the fitrah, meaning that we all come into this world seeking the truth, seeking submittance to Allah's will. If you and I as parents raise our children upon the truth, if you and I as parents guide our children upon the fitrah to submit to Allah's will, and we teach them to show allegiance to Allah, have allegiance to the Quran, have allegiance to Allah's decree, when they grow up, it'll kick in. It'll kick in. It'll kick in just like it did with that boy, and they'll end up making the right choice. So again, that's why I'm hard on you sisters. I have to come down hard on you, because we're living in a society whereas most people are unbelievers. We're living in a society whereas the awliya, or the allies of Shaitan, outnumber the allies of Allah. And like the sister was saying before I began the lecture, you know, everybody's vlogging, everybody's on YouTube, everybody's trying to be seen, everybody's trying to be noticed, everybody's trying to make that dollar bill, everybody's trying to get a taste of the pie, a taste of the dunya. Nobody's thinking about the hereafter, nobody's thinking about consequences. And who's suffering? Our children.